never been a huge analyzer of movies, especially standalone movies. I'm much more comfortable in a universe like Star Wars or Marvel where it's easier to make connections between movies and characters who make bigger arcs than just in one movie, because I think that is the coolest thing in the entire world. I wish I would have done more of what I'm about to do as I moved through the Marvel Cinematic Universe this summer, but there's one specific character in one specific movie that I just really need to talk about right here, right now. The character Steve Rogers, aka Captain America. The movie Captain America Civil War. I have a lot to say about this movie, but there's one specific thing I really felt like I needed to talk about. The moment Captain America and Iron Man, Steve Rogers and Tony Stark battle, not just physically, but emotionally. This movie messed with my emotions and I'm still not over it, and I may never be over it ever. So here we are, Tony Stark has just found out what really happened to his parents, and Steve Rogers is doing his best to defend the man responsible. He did it against his will, but still, both are stubborn, both are super powerful, literally. Neither one of them is going to give up until the other one surrenders or dies or something. But there's this moment, their physical and emotional battle goes into a sort of stage 2, I guess. But before the two really start to go at it for real, Cap says something that to me changes everything for the worse. Forever? Question mark. One thing I found that I really love about the MCU is that the end of one movie is not the end of everything. Being part of a much larger universe, sometimes seemingly small details in one movie come back as part of a much bigger character arc through multiple movies. Backtrack for a second to when we first meet Cap. One of the very first scenes in Captain America: The First Avenger, Steve Rogers, before he becomes a super soldier, while attempting to fend off a bully, says something seemingly insignificant. "I could do this all day." And then he has the garbage can lid like a shield, and it's great. Referring to the fact, of course, that he isn't going down without a fight. He also isn't going to let any bullies, anyone ever, push him around. Fast forward to the last 20 minutes or so of Captain America Civil War. Tony Stark, after just discovering what happened on December 21st, 1991, goes after Bucky for probably a lot of reasons. Cap steps in. Finally has his friend back. He's not gonna let anything happen to him. And that's when that previously seemingly insignificant line returns, as Cap is now trying to defend himself against Iron Man. "I could do this all day." That moment, the moment we hear Cap say, "I could do this all day," is when Tony Stark ceases to be his friend and teammate and becomes the bully that he refuses to tolerate. From that moment on, things between Steve Rogers and Tony Stark will never be the same again. At the end of the movie, Cap tells Tony Stark, "If you need me, I'll be there." That's the Cap we know and love, always at attention to fulfill his duty, whatever it may be. But the relationship between the two of them from now on will probably never be anything more than an obligation. I mean, really, nothing between any of the Avengers is ever going to be the same after any of this. Knowing everything that they've all been through together, though, that just... it hurts, it makes me sad, I'm sad. But even more than making me feel all kinds of sadness and upset, Cap lost my respect. Because as much as I understand where he was coming from, trying to defend Bucky and himself, and grieving the loss of Peggy again, for real, forever, I don't think, at least for now, I can forgive the fact that the respect and care Cap should have had for Tony Stark, he didn't have it. When your friend is grieving, you don't just go and rip out their heart. It's clear and obvious that Cap at this point is struggling and has been struggling with his loyalty. And maybe he's a little stuck in the past. I mean, with the whole Peggy thing and Bucky kind of being back in his life for at least a little while until the very end of the movie. But the meaning and significance of that line says a lot about how Cap now views Tony Stark. and I just can't. I tried. I thought about it for a while. I really tried. I just can't respect someone who would call someone who's never done anything wrong to them personally a bully. Especially since the only reason Tony Stark is going after Bucky is because he's devastated and heartbroken, but so is Cap. Obviously this is a movie and all of this is layered and it goes a lot deeper than this in a lot of places, and I'm just scratching the surface and I'm only covering one very small part of a very chaotic and crazy and awesome movie. Bringing that moment back at such a critical point. If you look at those two shots from those two movies side by side, they are almost staged identically, and to me that's cool. That's amazing, and I can't get over how awesome that is. That's why part of me can't completely turn away from Cap for good as I would kind of like to, because I just want to punch him in the face a whole bunch of times. I may not respect him at all, but this dude's been through a lot. I feel bad. Just not enough to still call him my favorite. Black Panther, on the other hand, may have just won a spot in my top 5 favorite Marvel characters list, behind Spider-Man. I have plenty more to say about Captain America Civil War. I might have to watch it a third time, but my broken heart can only handle so much. Overall, I love this movie. I'm sorry that Cap, you don't really belong in my favorites list anymore. I feel bad for you, but you lost your spot, man. You just respect, okay? That's what you're all about, isn't it? Kind of? Bro, you hurt me. I'm hurt. I hurt.